Okay, and then for file purpose, go ahead and tell me what your first and last name is, spell it for me, and your title and role.
Okay, my name is Craig Maniglia, CraigManiglia, and I am the Director of Communications and Community Relations for Sarasota County Schools.
Very good. All right. Okay, you ready to roll?
Sure.
Okay. So first question, the district's Friday evening mail included the following. This policy is effective while at school, while on school property, during school-sponsored activities, and during school board-provided transportation to and from school or school-sponsored activities, at all times while indoors or outdoors in a crowded setting. This includes spectators at all extracurricular activities. So to be clear, does this include football games?
Sure. Our hope is to keep everybody who comes into a crowded area. So obviously it would depend on how many people were at the football game to wear masks. So if you had a full stadium where everybody was side by side, we would expect everyone to have a mask on. Enforcement of that will be, as you might imagine, very hard to do. So, I mean, we're going to ask people to do that. We're going to have masks available for people.
Okay, and then as far as enforcement, you said it's going to be hard, but do we plan on having like sheriff's deputies, and how are we going to be enforcing this mask mandate?
We'll have obviously during the game and stuff, we will have our administrators at the sites, and then we'll also have our SROs, and we'll do the best we can. Again, the option here is not to penalize people. The option here is to try to reduce the spread. And we're trying to do everything we can to get the community spread to drop. As you know, each day it's very high. We're seeing totals of, a 14-day spread of anywhere from 14% to 20%. So those are Sarasota Department of Health numbers. So we're trying to do our part and keep our children and our families as safe as possible. Nope, I can't hear you.
Thank you. I mute myself in between. Okay, so I understand that. So let's talk about maintaining compliance. Beyond what we just talked about, are there any other key points in the Friday directive that you want to stress specifically?
Well, what we want to do is, we'll probably treat this as an implementation as a dress code violation. And that's the closest thing that we have to this. And so what that means is, it's not like we're going to turn people away at the gate. You don't have a mask, shun. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to bring them in, calmly speak with them, explain the importance behind it, offer a mask, talk to them again, call the parent, explain to the parent the situation. And if we just can't get them to, adhere to the policy, then we probably need to send them home as we would in a dress code violation.
Okay, and so if a student is found to be out of compliance of the mask mandate, where will the student go while waiting on the parent or guardian to pick them up?
Well, each school will have areas where they can put children to wait. They'll be in SIS rooms or rooms where there will be technology available for them that they can actually be working on. But the main goal is to get them to be masked and be in school.
And sorry. And will they be removed from class? And what if a parent never shows?
Well, it all depends on the student, right? If the student puts the mask on when they're asked to comply, then no, they wouldn't be removed from class. But eventually, yes, they would be brought down, as they would be in a dress code violation, brought down to the office or to another area, given the opportunity to become in compliance with, we give them what that would take. And then we'll call the parent, or in a high school situation, if it was a driver, we would also call the parent and say that we're sending the child home, the student home. If the parent doesn't come, then the student sits in that room and studies the best they can with the information we can give them. Okay,
and will this count for any missed tests or assignments? Will there be lates or zeros?
Well, the hope is they'll be able to keep up. In the elementary school setting, there will be learning packets that are given out, the same as if you were isolation or quarantine at this time. And in the secondary, there will also be learning opportunities through Blackboard and other means of technology, whether it be email or Teams. Every classroom is a little different. And they'll be able to make their work up in that manner.
Okay. All right, so we understand that. And so there are those who can't wear a mask for medical reasons. So how are you verifying the doctor's notes? We're checking the legitimacy here because we heard there's a chiropractor, an alleged chiropractor, who's just giving a doctor's note to anyone.
Right. So we've also heard that. That's the beauty of social media. And so we do have that information, and those will be looked into. I mean, it's not a blind, you can't go in your living room and sign it. If it's thought to be that it's not in compliance, then there will be an investigation done, and we'll be asked to put you into compliance with a correct type of physician for the medical exemption.
Okay. All right, we get that. I know that's still fluid and that you guys are still looking into how are you going to verify though?
Well, the chiropractor will be quite easy, right? Because it's all over the internet that the chiropractor is doing it. So again, our goal is not to get people out of school. Our goal is to get people into school in a face-to-face learning atmosphere as safe as possible within a policy that was passed by our school board. So we will verify the best we can, but there's only so much verifying you can do, right? So we're hope that, our hopes are that people are truthful. I mean, we do not want a child in a mask that has a medical condition, but we do want a child in a mask that doesn't have a medical condition, that just doesn't want to wear it. It's not the intent of the policy.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. All right, and so beyond masks, what are some of the other steps the district is taking in the schools and on the buses to keep everyone healthy? By that, I am thinking about a call we took from a nurse and a parent. She wondered if the district will have things like hand washing stations set up in the classrooms, and how often are hard surfaces going to be wiped down? And are you able to fill us in on any of this? Are there shields going to be back up?
Sure. Our mitigation is going to be very similar to what it was last year. We're going to try to clean the rooms, as the deep cleanings in the end of the day, try to hit the touch points during the day. Buses will have sanitizer as you come on. They'll be wiped down in between routes. Bus drivers will also have masks for the students as they come on in the bus areas. We sprayed the whole school system down with a product called Omni Shield, which is a 90-day protectant that kills bacterial viruses such as COVID-19. So that is, the whole schools, all school classrooms and areas have been sprayed down with that. So, I mean, we're mitigating as much as possible. And last year, a lot of these mitigation efforts seemed to work. Of course, everybody was in compliance with the mask mandate last year, and it worked. So this year, we'll see how that works. Now, we're starting off behind the 8 ball because everybody came in without masks, right? So it's much easier to start a school system or school season in masks than it is to try to implement one after the first few days. So we'll see how that goes on Monday.
All right. So speaking of Monday, there are some indications there will be protests Monday morning. How will the district and law enforcement handle this? Will the protesters be sent to a specific area? What will the district do if other parents or protesters harass students who are wearing masks?
Well, again, that's the First Amendment right, to protest, and hopefully people do that peacefully. We understand that people aren't happy with wearing masks, as people are happy, just as happy to wear them. So we don't allow protests on school grounds. So right away, that's going to inhibit people from really talking to the majority of our students as they come into school. But they can protest outside, on the school grounds, as you may have witnessed. Last year, we had quite a few rallies during the election for one candidate or the other and one topic or another. So we'll be ready. We have a pretty large internal police force who will be there, and we do have support from the sheriff's department if needed. Most media outlets have let us know where they're going to go, so we will have extra support there. And you don't know what you're going to have until you have it. You can only anticipate the worst and hope for the best. And what we're seeing is in some of our bigger schools, high schools, our schools are already at 98% compliance in the mask. So as time goes on, I think the mask up and be safe is kind of catching on, and so we're anticipating a rough couple of days, but we're hoping with the verdict in Leon in Leon County, and it's just now it's going to happen. More and more counties in Florida are going to flip to this mandatory masking because it's necessary. because it's necessary. There is a high COVID Delta spread going on right now.
Right. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting week, and we do plan to do our part in covering these protests as part of the media. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears a little bit. We have some questions by the viewers. First one is, what is the plan for students who are unable to attend the class because of the mask mandate? Will there be a Zoom option for them?
At this point, there will not be any Zooming into the classroom. Again, there will be learning packets made for K through 5, and then there will be assignments that are posted on Blackboard and Teams and email, how the current classes currently are posting assignments. And teachers will be available to help people that are in quarantine or isolation, after school. But, just to sit out and protest is really not where we want to be. We really want you in and engaged in a learning atmosphere. So
I'm unmuting myself. Okay. And so will parents be fined for truancy?
no, there won't be any fining to my knowledge at this point. I mean, now you're getting into legal and other type of mitigations that really go beyond the scope of any regular school district. So I don't know if there'll be any fines. It is a state law that you must go to school, and now it's a policy of Sarasota County schools that you must wear a mask. So both could be contradicting at some point to others. And should a student feel harassed or feel like they just can't do it, there are other options for them. There's still Sarasota Virtual, or there is the Hope Scholarship, and they could go that route.
Okay, right. There are options. All right. And so are religious beliefs a factor into the responsibility for wearing masks?
That's an interesting question. We've had maybe 2 come in so far that we're looking for an exemption on religious, with a religious exemption, and we're going to handle those one-on-one, and we're going to ask for verification with the religious sector, whoever it may be, with what is the actual religious exemption needed, and please show us text to that nature and have an expert. And then those will be probably shifted up through our attorneys. We won't deal with those because you start getting out of the line of what we're here to do, and that is to provide an exceptional education, and all the different variances of different exemptions. We have people on staff for attorneys and stuff to vet those.
Okay, we understand that. And so will kids be counted absent for the classes that they do miss?
We're working through that right now. I don't know at this point if they'll be excused or unexcused, but at this point, if they're not in school, it's an absence. I just don't know whether it will be an excused absence or unexcused absence at this point. It's still being talked about. My guess is, again, we want as much participation as possible, and we want as much learning as possible. And we know that happens in a face-to-face environment with a teacher. That's the optimal way to learn. So being absent isn't helping anybody. It's not helping the child. It's not helping the parent, because I'm sure most parents work. So again, this is not a punishment that's being put on children in Sarasota County schools. This is a mitigation that the school board felt necessary to help lower the COVID spread. Currently, we have over 3,000 people out of school. 3,000. That's a lot of people out of school. Most of those are quarantined, but they're still out. So those children are being worked with. They can get extra help. We have people that are zooming in and zooming out. But when you're intentionally ignoring a policy to go to school, it's really not the same circumstance as you were put out on a quarantine or you became ill with the sickness, the virus. So again, I'm not sure at this point. I don't think we're exactly sure whether they'll be excused or unexcused. Our goal is to get them to put the mask on and get in school and get learning. And we're talking a temporary policy. We're talking November 23rd is when it will expire. And we're also saying if we can get the community spread to go below 8 for 3 consecutive days, that they can take them off. So the best way to do that is to wear a mask. And that's not the school system talking. That is CDC, that is DOH, these are some pretty big medical, Johns Hopkins, all over the country, mask up, mask up, mask up. It's just where we think we can help mitigate this and keep our environment safe.
Okay. We understand that as well. And if a student is unable to procure a doctor's note, is no other reason acceptable to be exempt?
Right now, the exempt policy, I mean, obviously there could be a religious exemption if they could show where it fit that category. But right now it's a medical exemption is what is accepted. And that there are a lot of terms for medical, right? There's psychiatric, there's a lot of lanes for that, but it is I'm not sure that chiropractor is one of those lanes, but that's not for me to decide. That would be for, attorneys to decide.
Right, it's not in your hands right now. Okay, well, that wraps up my questions. Is there anything else that you want to say about Monday? The floor is yours.
Yeah, we're just, we're excited to have this behind us. We're excited that we can hopefully get back to face-to-face learning. There's a lot of distractions to start this school year. Whether it's the COVID-19 spikes, it's the protesting, it's a lot of stuff going on. And again, our main objective is to educate the students to their highest possible potential in a face-to-face learning atmosphere. And we're doing everything but that because of all these distractions. It's very difficult to spend all of our time dealing with a small majority of people, a minority of people. To give you an example, at Booker High School, 98% of the children are masked up before the mandate even went into fully implementation. Most of our elementary schools are over 90% implementation. Our middle schools are very high participation. And we know that Monday, when it's enforced and they're asked to comply, most children will. It's some of the parents that don't want to do this. And what we fear is it's not really a medical situation, it's a political situation. So what we really would like to do is get back to what we do best, and that's teaching, and get these kids in front of face-to-face learning. And I'll also add that should your child go to a bus stop and they don't have a mask, they're going to get on the bus and we're going to take them to school. We're not leaving children at a bus stop alone and uninhabited. So it will be your obligation as a parent or a guardian to come get that child as if they were sick, if they're not going to be in compliance with the policy. And we're just hoping that, again, that we can go back to some sort of full-on education and just help these children, succeed the best way they can with their friends in face-to-face learning.
Okay. Well, thank you again for joining us. I think the viewers will really appreciate you answering these questions. I mean, we're just unsure of how we're going to be going into this week. So thank you again, and stay tuned tonight and tomorrow.
So in that also, I'm available. I don't know how we got off on this track earlier. I'm available. It's just, as you can imagine, we're a pretty small old group of people, and I'm out at schools, and I sit on a cabinet. So I know all the information. I just sometimes can't get our superintendent to, we're working 14, 15 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And weekends, I'm working today, so it was easy for me to do this soon. So before we get back, I hope we can stay out of the tit for tat with Mr. Burbank. That's not our goal. Our goal is to get the information out. It's just sometimes, and this is just between you and I, kind of off the record, but I received 375 emails yesterday.
Wow.
Okay, that's just me, one day. And it's not very few. I'd say maybe a small percentage was media related. Okay, so that's how crazy it is right now. So we're doing everything possible to get as much. We're not trying to block any news outlet from any coverage, and we're trying to do the best we can. On top of this, we have 9/11. Everybody wants the 20th anniversary. They want to get into school. They want to do this. And so it's just a lot going on. And I apologize for any hurt feelings we have with SNN or anybody else, but we are available the best we can be, and we'll get to you as soon as possible.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that. And you have my information. You have all of our information. So, of course, if there is any updates, stay in touch with us. We'll reach out to you, and we'll definitely keep this communication going.
Great, Annette. You have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you. You too. Have a good one.